When a new mother refused to bathe her newborn for 3 weeks, the village called it madness. They whispered that sorrow had clouded her mind, that grief had pushed her into dangerous choices. But what they didn't know was a secret that would change everything. Tell me, would you trust a mother who ignores what everyone says is normal? Or would you think there was danger in her silence? Her name was Amma. She was young, gentle, and proud to hold her first child in her arms. The baby was small, fragile, yet full of life, and the entire village celebrated the birth as if it were their own. In this close-knit community, children were never just for one family. The midwives carried wisdom from generations before them. The elders carried proverbs on their lips. Neighbors shared their herbs, their soaps, their advice, as though each word could guard the baby from harm. So when Amma refused to bathe her newborn, the whispers began. Some knocked gently on her door, carrying bowls of steaming water scented with leaves. Others brought special soaps, the kind passed down by mothers for protection and cleansing. They told her it was the way things had always been done. But Amma shook her head. She smiled politely, yet firmly turned every offer away. One elder muttered a warning, "A mother's hands know the shape of her child, but the village knows the path a child must walk." Still, Amma refused every offer and nobody could understand why. The longer Amma refused, the louder the whispers grew. Some said she was ashamed, that perhaps the baby carried a mark she did not want others to see. Others believed it was impurity that a child unbathed for so long could bring misfortune into the home. A few, with lowered voices, even muttered about spirits, saying a newborn must be washed quickly, lest unseen forces cling to its skin. The midwife, who had guided countless births, visited her again. She spoke with patience, but firmness. "Amma," she said, "a bath is not just water. It is cleansing, it is protection. The body is tender, but the world is harsher still." An elder joined her, his voice carrying the weight of tradition. "Child, you must listen. The village has its ways for a reason. Do not carry pride where there should be humility. A baby belongs not only to the mother, but to all of us." Yet Amma stood quietly, rocking her child in her arms. The baby's cries were soft, almost calm, as if untouched by the worry surrounding them. The neighbors waited, expecting Amma to bend beneath the pressure. But she did not. Her refusal turned into confrontation. The midwife raised her voice. "What do you think you are doing? Do you want harm to fall on your own child?" Still, Amma did not flinch. She did not argue. She spoke only 2 words. And those 2 words made the midwife fall silent. Amma finally lifted her eyes to the midwife and the elder. Her voice was soft, but steady. "This child will not be bathed, not yet," she said. At first, it sounded like stubbornness. But then her words carried a deeper story. She spoke of her grandmother, who had told her that a newborn enters the world wrapped in more than flesh and blood. A fine layer, soft and white, covered the baby's skin, a gift of protection from both sickness and spirits. To wash it away too quickly, her grandmother had warned, was to leave the child bare before the unseen. Amma remembered too well the story of her own brother, bathed too soon, who grew weak and never recovered his strength. She had promised herself and whispered to her mother on her dying bed that her own child would be guarded with care, no matter what others said. Some listened and understood. They had heard the old teachings before, that the body of a newborn carries its own shield, that the mother's hands must wait before the water is poured. And if you ask modern science, it says the same, that the white covering, called vernix, is more than just skin. It holds warmth, it guards against infection, it softens the harshness of the air outside the womb. Amma knew this by instinct and by memory. Her refusal was not madness, not pride. It was protection. When she finally explained, some in the gathering softened. Heads nodded, voices calmed. But others? They were already acting. The village courtyard was divided. Some stepped back, whispering that Amma's words carried wisdom older than themselves. They told others to leave her be, to trust the bond between a mother and her child. But not everyone agreed. A small crowd grew louder, insisting that Alma was careless, even dangerous. They spoke of laws, of tradition, of the shame that would fall if outsiders heard that a baby was left unwashed for so long. A heated argument spread from house to house until it nearly became a public matter. It was then that a respected elder one whose voice carried weight above quarrels came quietly to Alma's home. He did not scold her. He sat, watched the baby, and listened. The child's skin was soft, unbroken, and glowing with health. No sign of weakness, no illness. Not long after, another mother in the village bathed her newborn too soon. Within days, her baby developed rashes that worried even the midwives. The voices that had once accused Alma began to falter. Some shook their heads in silence, others muttered, almost ashamed. And the elder spoke a line that stayed with them all: not every rule is a chain, and not every refusal is rebellion. For the first time, the noise began to fade, though the lesson was only just beginning. In the days that followed, the tension slowly gave way to quiet acceptance. The same neighbors who once pressed bowls of water into Alma's hands began to sit with her in silence, watching the child grow stronger. The midwife who had raised her voice now returned with gentler eyes, admitting that perhaps not every old way was wrong and not every new way was foolish. The baby thrived, his skin smooth, his cries full of strength. Alma did not boast, nor remind the villagers of their harsh words. She simply held her child close, her calm strength speaking louder than any argument could. In time, the story spread as more than just a quarrel about bathing. It became a lesson on the weight of a mother's intuition, the balance between tradition and new knowledge, and the danger of rushing to judgment before understanding the heart behind a choice. It reminded them all that sometimes, wisdom wears many faces: the elder's proverb, the midwife's care, the mother's quiet resolve. And when they come together, a child is safest of all. Not every choice that seems strange is wrong. Sometimes silence holds a mother's wisdom, and time reveals what words cannot. As the proverb says, before you scold the river's bend, know which way the water runs. So let me ask you, would you have trusted Alma? Yes or no? If this story moved you, share your thoughts in the comments, pass it on to someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe for more African tales that ask uncomfortable questions, and teach quiet truths.